Hi, welcome. I'm Jacquie Ruderman, and I'm recording this class during the pandemic of 2020. So hopefully you will find this practice nourishing. I have felt like I've been carrying the sadness and the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I'm sharing this practice today, specifically working with releasing the fascial tension in the trapezius muscle. As you see here, the trapezius is a large superficial muscle in our back, triangular shaped, originating from the center of the back and extending from the lower thoracic spine to the base of the skull. It actually comes into the body. The origin is at the base of the skull and the neck, and the spinous processes from the cervical vertebra all the way down to the thoracic vertebra, T12. And we will be working with certain yin postures to open that fascial tissue, and at the same time um, bring to mind in the focus some yang meridians that are affected in this area. Specifically, you see pictured here the large intestine meridian. And also, we'll be talking about the small intestine meridian and how they all innervate that trapezius fascial tissue. The emotions that will be hopefully worked through today is sadness, letting go. The small intestine meridian corresponds to the heart yin meridian, which is represents your spirit and your shen. And the large intestine meridian corresponds to the lung. I truly hope that you find these practices nourishing and that you take a respite for all that we are going through at this time, knowing any time of practice and this time to fill up your own well will not only be of benefit to yourself, but to all those that you come into contact with. Namaste. Welcome. So, we are going to start, my friends, in Vajrasana. So just using a block, put it in between the feet. I feel like that's a good location. If you are suffering with some knee issues, you can make the block higher, or you can take 2 blocks. But this is quite therapeutic. Oh, and I also have a playlist for you. Sorry about, let's see. Let me put that in the chat room. I promise by next week I'll get it going. Maybe. So again, try to mute yourself. So that's the Spotify playlist, or you can also just look me up on Spotify, Jacquie Ruderman, and it's the first playlist. It doesn't matter. All my playlists are good for this practice. So here we are. And you want in Vajrasana, take the flesh and just bring it behind you so you're really sitting on the sit bones and you have that good contact with the earth. You might want to slip your hands in between the outside of the hips and the heel. This kind of shows that the feet are in the right direction. And then take your thumbs and put them in the palm of the hand, close the fingers on the thumb, and just give yourself a little massage. to the bottom of the feet. So we know that this is a big kidney point, kidney 1, really good for our immune system, and just grounding the top of the feet down, saying hello. And then we'll take a mudra today for acceptance and relieving sadness. It's been several taxing months. So the mudra is you take the pointer finger and you bring it to the root of the thumb. And then you take the pinky finger and you put it to the top of the thumb. The, what is it called, folks? Anyhow, so it's a little hard. The pointer goes to the root of the thumb. The pinky goes to the thumb. The middle and the ring finger are out. So please mute yourself if you haven't muted yourself. And so this is the mudra. Bring the shoulder blades back and down. Start to meet yourself. Maybe close the eyes and do a gentle scan of the body, just recognizing where you might be feeling tension in the body. Today's class is focusing on these upper back and neck area. So noticing if there is any tension in that area. This mudra specifically, we know that the pinky represents the heart meridian in Chinese medicine. The thumb corresponds to the large intestine and the lung. And those meridians run up the upper arms and the upper back. So just bringing any awareness of tension along the arms, in the heart center. And then slowly opening up your eyes, maybe bringing the hands to the heart center and dedicating your practice to anything you need right now. We'll stay in Vajrasana, and if you need to move forward, some of us even staying in the position 2 to 3 minutes might feel some uncomfortable sensations, but this is a yin pose as well. So just maybe come forward just for a moment and take the hands forward. And you can even tuck the toes and start to open up the backs of the wrists. And you'll feel this awareness from the wrist to the inner elbow. We know on the pinky side, right by that wrist, is the heart 7, really potent point for anxiety, depression. So just opening up here. And then we're going to come back to our Vajrasana still, and I'm showing you the back of myself because we're going to take our right ear down. And just take the right ear down to the shoulder and then bend the left arm. Bend the left arm if you can. And so right away, you are feeling the musculature of this trapezius muscle, which we'll talk about, that holds a tremendous amount of tension in our body. The muscle is a superficial muscle that starts at the base of the skull, the occipital bone. And superficial means that it's like right under the skin and the superficial fascia, you have this muscle. And it is connected from the occipital bone down through the cervical spine, through all the way to T12, thoracic vertebra 12, the end of the thoracic spine. And the thoracic spine connects, our rib cage. So you can feel this. It's also attached to the scapula and to the front of the collarbone. So it really has a deep impact. Now from here, I want you to be gentle with yourself and see what it feels like to bring the head into the crook of the elbow. And I did this on Sunday. And we know that in yin practices, we hold the postures for 3 to 6 minutes, but you have to listen to your body. And we do this because there is that phase change that is going to happen in the fascial tissue. The longer we hold the postures without engagement, the cells in the fascia, the fibroblasts, will change form. Imagine a stiff sponge being soaked into warm water. So that is what's occurring right now. And now, when we get out of the posture, remember, you didn't hurt or break your neck. It's just going to be very vulnerable. So I want you to go very, very slowly and come to neutral and be very slow about it. And just take a moment, just noticing. And then bringing yourself over to the other side. So taking the ear down and just feeling this, just feeling the awareness. So through this trapezius muscle, you have 3 parts, upper, middle, and lower. We also have a lot of, we're going to take the right arm and bend it now. Bend it behind you. We also have several of the upper body meridians flowing through our neck, our arms, and you actually can feel this energy. And I'm going to there are several of them, but I'm just going to point out the small intestine meridian. The small intestine meridian is the yang meridian to the heart. They both their chi needs to be balanced. And see if you're in your mind's eye, take the arm now, see if you can take it around. See if you can feel this. It starts with the pinky side of the finger, running up the arm to the elbow, to the shoulder, to the neck. You might even feel it in the jaw, in the cheekbone, and it ends at the right in front of the ear. So the person that just came in, if they could mute themselves, that would be helpful. Now you're going to release the arm and release this. Woof. So again, coming out of the Vajrasana pose for a moment and bringing yourself forward. And then maybe just rounding the back, walking the hands forward, rounding the back, letting the head go. I can't let my head go, my mic will come off. But you get the picture. And then we're going to, if you have a strap nearby, we're going to be working with the feet. So I know a lot of us in the class hate this one, especially if you put the strap on, it makes it even more intense. So if you don't have a strap, that's fine. You're going to take the strap and you're going to take the feet as close as you can together. And I have a little bit of a bunion that I'm working on. There are yoga postures that you can do to help that bunion. So I have my strap really tight. I'm going to have a block and a blanket nearby. And I'm going to take the strap on my right side. And I'm going to tuck the toes, and I'm going to place a block right here. Okay? So this can be quite uncomfortable for the feet, right? And I'm noticing that you might not be able to see my arms. So I'm going to come around. So you're tucked. And we'll take the right arm up, and we'll bend it, and you have this strap to hold on to. You'll take the left arm, you'll turn it out, and you have this strap. Now, some of you might be able to hold the actual hand. And you don't get up. I'm just getting up because I'm turning around, but we're staying in this. Now, I realize that this is difficult. You're probably feeling a lot of awareness in the feet, the big toe especially, which is the first point of the liver meridian, brings up a lot of irritation, aggravation, very potent point, so it's very good for us. And then of course, we're stretching the plantar fasciitis in the foot. So you're feeling that. So if it becomes too much for anyone, you can come up for a moment and then come back down. But it is, you know, incredibly good for the feet. And once again, so what you'll see is you'll feel this awareness of the left side of the upper trapezius, the upper back muscle, getting that stretch. And then on the right side, you feel this awareness of the armpit to the elbow, which is a lung meridian. And then we're going to release this. So just release the arms, take the arms out for a moment. Take the palms to face towards your back for a moment. And then we're going to undo the toes. And I am going to take, if it allows, if your knees are okay, I'm actually going to take a blanket and give some extra acupressure to my calves by putting the blanket on the meaty part of my calf. And then you see I have untucked my feet, but I still am trying to keep the heels together, which is really, really hard. And I'm going to sit back. Now, for some of us, this pose can actually feel more intense than the toes tucked. Now, for some reason, and I don't know, and you'll have to text me individually if you plan on taking my classes, if you have specific things that are going on, like with your ankle. If you are dealing with ankle issues, you will have to text me later and we'll talk about this. But obviously, depending on the issue in your ankle, you won't be doing certain postures. Karen, I don't know if your ankle is still bothering you, so I don't know. It is? It's good? Okay. All right. Oh, no, it's not? All right, Karen, we'll talk about it. We'll give you opportunity to do some other stuff. So we're coming out, and I'm having you tuck one more time. So the toes are going to be tucked, and we have to do the other side. So the strap goes on the left side now. We take the blanket off. And Karen, you can come into a child's pose if that's okay for your body, just to meet us in these. So Karen, I'll give you a variation in one moment if you'd like, but you can take this pose in a child's pose. So we're going to take the left arm, take it up, take the right arm out, Take the palm behind you, find the strap or your hand. So the pose can also be done without straps and things. And if there are a problem with, some people have some things going on with the feet, either, you know, have severely broken the ankle, have something going on, you, Karen, can take this posture, getting this kind of stretch using blocks. Or even putting your head down, and look at this, Karen, taking Gomukhasana like this. Oh, we should do this. I'll do this on Sunday or next week. This is delicious here. All right, so everyone coming out of that pose, undo yourself. Undo yourself. Undo the straps. Take yourself forward, undoing everything, have blocks by your side, and just let's take a rest. Let's take a rest on our belly, because for some of us that could feel intense. And just be here in Sphinx. We're not going to stay here long, although we will revisit it. And just breathe here for a moment. So again, here we have a little opening in the upper chest, and you'll feel squeezing in the lumbar spine, which is also really quite healthy for your spine. And again, we're not staying, normally we'd stay here 3 to 6 minutes, but we're just going to visit this just for a moment. So take the, if you'd like to go further, take the hands out to the side and start to straighten the arms, and here the shoulders can come up. So really allowing this softness in the belly, in the chest. And if you're down at Sphinx and getting enough, then stay here. Those of you that are straightening the arms, again, usually we would stay in the pose a little longer. Today, we have lots to do. So we're going to lower down. We'll turn our head to one side and just rest. And maybe take the left knee out to the side into a half frog. Just opening up in the inner groin to the knee. Feeling the breath on the earth. And then straightening the left leg and turning the head to the other side and taking the knee up. I'm just going to check who's here. Oh, Nicole made it. Okay. So, straightening the legs, take the hands by the chest, and we're going to come up. So, our next pose, because everything is connected, we are going to be doing a deep lunge, but we are opening up in our lunge the front body. And so the tightness in our front body really affects all of this upper back area. So I have a variation today. If you don't have a block, you don't need it. So you take the block, and we're going to start with the left leg. Now I have my foot on a block, and you can even move the heel down a little off the block. And what this does is just gives like a little extra Achilles stretch. Now, if this is too much, again, the pose can be done just on the floor. But what this does also, it really brings the upper body into the thigh, just resting. And so the pose, I'll show you on the other side. It's sort of like this. And then you can rest your hand on the other block, or you can just rest your hand, both hands here. But I think it's more restful if you have a hand here. And so right away, there's a lot going on in this posture, right? Especially if you haven't done anything yet this morning. So this too really can be quite intense. So I want you to try to relax and soften the right side. So there are many different tenets in yin yoga. We get into a posture. We try to go into the deepest expression of that posture. We try to relax the muscles, the yang parts of our body. And in this case, we're trying, the target area is the whole hip flexor area, the front of the quadricep, the iliac psoas. You'll feel an opening down the whole front of the right side. But there's also a lot of stuff going on the left side. We're squeezing the calf flesh, the Achilles here. So I want us to now, we're going to, if you'd like, to sort of affect the inner groin. So come out a bit and turn the block out a little catty-cornered. So you're out a little, and see how that feels. Now, if it's too much again, you come off the block and you turn your foot a little, the left foot out to the side. Now, a nice, also more of a relaxation, or it could even be deeper, is to come down. And then the third piece, the third aspect of this yin practice is staying. Can you stay? And we've been asked to stay for many months now in both physically, emotionally, some uncomfortable spots, spiritually. Widening our container. So from here, you're going to straighten the arms, and again, slowly bring the leg back. Really slow. Good. And then take the right knee back. You can just rest in a child's pose, or you can take a downward dog and just get a little opening in the back body. Let the head go. Slowly bringing the knees down. And then we're going to enter into the other side. So we're coming to the other side, the right side. And again, maybe taking the block, the foot on the block, seeing how that feels for you. And again, this might be a little too intense. So just being here. Allowing that left side to soften and be. So down this left side, we are opening up into the spleen meridian. And maybe if you close your eyes, you can feel the energy of this, starting on the inside of the big toe, running up the top of the foot, up the shin, the inner aspect of the kneecap, the patella, up the top of the thigh, and then rising all the way to, this pointy as is point, the hip bone. So imagine if that was 12 o'clock, a little at 2 o'clock, that line goes right there. And then, I'm describing just the left side, but it is bilateral, these meridian pathways that run through our fascial tissue, both inner and more surface aspects. The meridian then comes into the belly, and both of those lines of energy go into the spleen and the stomach, which is located on the left. They come up towards the lungs. The lung and the spleen have a lot of connection, and then they end right at the collarbone. So again, let's turn the foot out. I know we've been in here a long time, so maybe turn the foot out. Again, you don't need to have your foot on the block. You could bring yourself even lower, turning the foot out. Feeling more of the inner groin aspect of the pose. And just we'll take one more minute in the posture. Noticing where you're still gripping, where you're still holding on. Start to slowly straighten the right leg. And again, just moving with delicacy, moving with care. So the next posture, you will need a block. And if you don't have a block, you can do more variation with blankets, and I'll show you that in a moment, but the block will really do the job. So hopefully you have a nice sturdy block. We're coming to on our back with legs bent. And so again, we're visiting this upper arm, upper chest aspect of our body and opening up. So you're going to take the block and see if you can lift up first and really shuffle the shoulder blades underneath your body. So you're on the triceps, bringing those shoulder blades together, really squeezing. And then the feet are very firm and the buttocks are active and the hamstrings. And then you'll take the block the long way and bring it right underneath the buttocks. So it's really supporting the lower aspect of the spine. And you can shuffle again. And then I want you to relax. So I want you to really feel the buttocks into the block being supported. You have this nice opening in the front of the spine.
And this is incredibly therapeutic for any kind of disc issues that you might have in your back. It's also emotionally incredibly supportive. Now, while you're in the posture, you can stay, or I will invite you to possibly straighten one leg. And when you do that, you see how it opens up more of this front of the body. Now, if you are experiencing any tingling in the bottom of the foot, you don't want to do this. So then you'll be back here. If you're experiencing any tingling in the hands in this position, you will lower yourself down to either the low aspect of the block or the medium. If you don't have a block, I'm sorry I didn't show this, you can take 2 blankets and bring them underneath your body. I mean, you won't get the incredible opening here, but you could bring your hands underneath you and bring them underneath the buttocks and take this posture with the soles of the feet together. And so there's still this little lift in the upper chest. So if you've straightened one leg, bend that leg, and now straighten the other. And we're here. I wanted to read you something that really I was touched by a teacher, Larry Ward. And he is a Buddhist teacher, Black Buddhist teacher. And he wrote, "And so my practice now is to help me deal with the disappointment, the frustration, the fatigue, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the panic, the hypervigilance. And I ask you, notice in yourself how all the events of the most recent months of experiencing the losses in this worldwide pandemic, the people being murdered, know that it has most probably affected you and your nervous system, not just your thoughts, but how your body has been responding. Have you noticed your own hypervigilance? Have you noticed your own fatigue? Have you noticed your own sense of overwhelm or panic or even hopelessness? All these issues, all these feelings, all these sensations rise in us. But shame also rises in us. It's the shame of how our society does not value all their citizens as equal human beings. And I'll continue with that, but I want you to bend both legs if they're not already. And I want you to lift up a little higher than the block. Take the block away. Take a moment. Lower down. Take the soles of the feet together. Take a moment here. And then take the right arm over the left and just hug yourself. Now, some of you might even want to take eagle arms, Garudasana. See how that feels. And the right arm is in front. Or just crossing the body is really quite nice. And just take a moment here. And then with the right arm crossed, turn, the right arm is in front, turn your head to the right. Just gently notice anything that's here. Again, this can be a potent yin posture as well, but we're taking it as sort of a sorbet posture in between other postures. So we won't be holding it to its maximum time. Take the arms open and then switch the arms again. Left arm over right, or maybe play with the Garudasana arms. And then turn the head to the left. Just taking another moment. We're going to start to close the legs. Bring yourself over to one side. Press your hand into the earth. Gaze down at the floor to bring yourself to come up. So the next posture is we're going to do a twisting pose, but we're coming through it through the front of our body. So we'll start with the right leg in front, the left leg out like this. We'll turn our body. You can take a blanket and roll the blanket up for a little bolster. You can even take two. And then bring yourself down. Now, I am going to do a little variation that I'm going to show you. So you can just take this posture. My mic is in the way. Turning your head in the opposite direction of the knees and get a lot of benefit here. You know, you'll feel huge benefit across the, in the thoracic spine, which is helping to stretch the lower portion of the trapezius, the whole back body. You'll also feel maybe some awareness in the side seam of the body, the gluteus medius. Now, if you want to go a little deeper in the posture, I have been playing with taking the bolster contraption out and working even deeply by the right leg is in front, sliding the left arm, taking this a blanket under my left shoulder for support and making it almost like a double twist. So taking that left arm through, threading it through and taking myself down. So it's this double twisting action, which is giving a stretch in that left, the muscles of the left scapula. And this might be too intense, but you can see how it feels. And we started a little late, so we're going to end a couple of minutes late. I'm sorry if you need to go, you need to go. So Larry Ward continues, one way I practice with my own trauma is to let it be, to not try to fix it. Trauma must be respected because it is part of our precious humanness. We can experiencing wanting to flight or flee
or just numbness. We may experience the paralysis of not knowing what to do. And this is our biological system in action. And it's normal, and there's nothing wrong. In fact, you might say something is right. If you are personally experiencing fear, if you're experiencing anger, if you're experiencing numbness, or even heartbreak. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a poem to this. I hold my face in my two hands. No, I'm not crying. I hold my face in my two hands to keep the loneliness warm. Two hands protecting, two hands nourishing, two hands preventing my soul from leaving me in anger. So slowly you're going to bring yourself out of the posture. So you're slowly going to bring yourself up. And then I want you to take yourself onto your back just to neutralize. Bring the thighs in, cross at the shins, at the ankles. Take the arms overhead if you can, if that's okay for you. And hold the opposite elbows. And just be here. Again, this would be another powerful, beautiful pose, but we are using it as an intermission to get onto the other side. So slowly take the feet down. Take a moment. And then coming to the opposite side, the left side, come to your side, press your hand down, bring yourself up to sit. So we're coming to the twist on the left. Again, maybe bringing a support this way, lining the navel up, bringing yourself down. This might be enough. I mean, these twists are so magical. There's so much going on, both meridian-wise and muscularly. But again, if you wanted to try that funky little twist by taking the right arm through and leaning the head down, so it's like a threading, you can do that. So in my, you might find this awareness, I wanted to, in my manual for my training, this awareness that you're feeling. So the yang organs that you're feeling right now, the large intestine, right? You might be feeling this awareness from the, it starts at the, large intestine starts at the thumb side of the pointer finger, and it goes down the webbing of the front of the hand, coming up the forearm, coming towards the back of the tricep, going to the back of the scapula, up the neck, and then there's an internal line that comes down through the lungs to the actual large intestine. But the surface line from the neck goes across the face, around the mouth to the opposite nostril, which is really interesting because in Nadi Shodhana, we close the nostril. And so this is a very potent
large intestine point on the outside of each nostril. And just to know that the lungs and the large intestine are responsible for mediating transient events like the inhalation and the exhale, but also psychological events. So the stronger the chi is in those areas, the lung and the large intestine, which runs up the upper body, the more the psyche will be able to deal and have resilience during these transient events. And these past months have been everything, extreme transient events. So with isolation and unsettling of our life. So the emotion is letting go. And when the chi is flowing well, and there can be a lot of grief or sadness when there is stuck chi. So that's what we're trying to unstuck ourselves. So coming back up, slowly coming back up. Now, we are going to end class because I'm running late. And I told you that I would only keep you, but I did have one more pose. So you can either take this pose just for a minute or two, or you can stay for 3 minutes. It is a forward bend, and it's a special forward bend. I take in the yin style of the Paschimottanasana, you take a blanket under your knees. So there is, it's not so much about the hamstrings. And then I have my little strap nearby. And I have another blanket nearby. Now, if you are, and I know there's one or two of you that have really tight hamstrings, I'm going to show you another pose. But here we are. We have our strap, and this is the pose. So what this is doing, and if you can, you don't need the strap. You can hold the opposite elbows. If you want to, if you need more support, you can have the block. So holding opposite elbows or having the strap nearby, what this does, it pulls down and stretches the fascial tissue of the trapezius. It's almost like if in the Iyengar classes when you do a rope wall. So if this is not happening for you because there's too much limitation in the hamstrings, you can take a child's pose and take your head down and take the arms behind you. Or you can hold opposite elbows. Now, you can stay here for another minute, but if you need to leave, you are slowly in the position to bring yourself back to Savasana. So either way, it's all good. Now, there is another deeper expression of this posture to put the hands in Garudasana. So you would start, remember those poses that we started. If there is an ability to take one arm and hold the hand, that is also a huge release on this upper shoulder. But we're all at different places and have different needs. And I always say, usually when we're in the class, that there are 3 teachers in the room: me, my teachers that have taught me, That's the second teacher. And the third, but most important teacher is you. So slowly coming out of this posture, heading on to your back for Shavasana. If you need to sign out earlier, please go ahead. So you bring a blanket for underneath your head. You can keep the blanket underneath the knees, lying down. I'm going to read you something from Christina Feldman, her book. So just settling into your body. This is from Christina Feldman's book, Listening to the Cries of the World. Compassion is not just a feeling. It is a response to pain that is deeply rooted in wisdom. Compassion, it is a commitment to alleviating suffering and the cause of suffering in all its forms. The human story is both personal and universal. Our personal experiences of pain, joy, grief, despair may be unique to each of us in the forms they take. Yet our capacity to feel grief, to feel fear or loneliness or rage, as well as delight, intimacy, joy, and ease are our common bonds as human beings. They are the language of the heart that crosses the borders of I and you. In the midst of despair or pain, you may be convinced that no one has ever felt this way before. Yet, there is no pain you can experience that has not been experienced before by another in a different time or place. Remember, our emotional world is also universal. So maybe bringing a hand to your body, bringing this awareness of the power of this lung meridian that flows up the thumb side of the body. It actually starts at the lungs. Feeling the breath in and out. And then slowly bending one leg, bend the other. Maybe move to your side. And before you sit up, thanking yourself for giving yourself this time for yourself and this nourishing practice, knowing that all of your work, all of this time will have benefits not only on yourself, but all those that you come into contact with. And coming to sit up,